Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our August 21st Century Evaluation Committee meeting, and I'm happy to see you all here. And we have a fairly light agenda today, but we're gonna make the most of it. Caitlin has a few things to share on the agenda, and then I have a few slides from technical assistance that Joe received at the state that would pertain to grantees. So I'll share those, and and that's what we'll do. So Caitlin, would you like to share? Hang on here. I always forget to make you a co-host right away at the beginning. And there you go. You should be good.
I'm sharing the agenda now. Hopefully, seeing that.
We can see it.
Okay, like Heidi said, very light. We're going to be gearing up towards the big finale of evaluation with the end of the year coming up and the local evaluation in November. So that's sometimes, I mean, what at this point in time of the year, everyone should have their data collected at this point. And so it's the evaluation reminders. I didn't put anything specifically. We'll meet again in October. So that'll be really the finalizing of those pieces. But for our monthly focus area, where we kind of just month by month have a different focus, it's around the APR template. So I will shift my screen to show that. I had done some updating on the template and I'll need to share out a new version. So I want to just go through those changes. Let me figure out how to change my screen. All right, are you seeing a spreadsheet?
Yes.
Great, okay. So I think in the last round of reporting, I had noticed that just visually, the way that things were oriented were kind of opposite from the spreadsheet. So like the hour bands previously were vertically listed instead of horizontally. And in the system, it's this way. So that is just more of a visual update, nothing necessarily content-wise, but hopefully more easier to follow as you're putting in your data, that you can like very one-for-one track how the data is entered. So as a reminder, this was created, I think, whenever the APR system kind of really changed with the GEPRA measures and things. So we've been using this as a tool for a while, but the idea is that you could have all your data and then enter it in one place, so that once you have the APR system up, it really is, you're not having to track down your numbers at any, like you have it all in front of you and you're entering at in one go. So the tab I have open now is the outcome. So again, all that changes that these hour bands are up top instead of to the side. So just some formatting. And then additionally, we have, I think, the opportunity to share a narrative of any issues with the gathering of data, reporting. So just put a text box to it. That's a place and time you want to kind of save your text. And you can have it in the spreadsheet with each of the GEPRA measures. And then there's other tabs as the other sections of the APR system have. So no changes necessarily to many of these, but just to familiarize people again, has the activities that are all set up for like the frequencies. There's a drop-down menu, the staff section with pretty simple format, just to plug in numbers in one spot.
On that last slide, I just saw it say DERG prevention. So I don't know if we want to change that to drug.
That's not right. That's been there for many years. Then good catch. I shouldn't say what I'm about to say because we're being recorded, but we have a label maker that labels all of our cabinets and things, what's inside. And for the longest time, instead of bowls, I said bowels. And I just,
no.
I got a chuckle out of it every time, but it's since been changed.
That's
so.
one you don't really even want to change because it just brings a little joy.
All right. Staff is very simple, straightforward. Participation, I did change this slightly in here. I think in the system, if you have programs that go into middle or high school, these were kind of split as separate ways to enter. And previously it was just one, no split with grade level. So that's also changed. So there's probably some other tweaks as things have evolved in the system over time. So these were the couple that I noticed and would invite any discussion or thoughts around how this can continuously improve. So that's all I have for show and tell, but if there's any like how it's working, additions or changes that anyone else would. Are you guys using this? Maybe is a good question too. I know I use it, but I'm also biased to spreadsheets and I love working in spreadsheets, so pause.
Hi, this is Billy. I like what you're doing. I like the spreadsheet or this template. But my question is, are we going to ask that everyone kind of do this so we're on the same pages, or it's still up to our discretion what we do?
I think it's totally up, from my understanding, it's totally up to each grantee's discretion of how they best want to organize their data. This is just an offering of one way that works, and there's probably lots of other ways that work.
I have my evaluator here with me, and I know that her name is Margaret Connett, and I know that she has really liked this template, right, Margaret? And I think we're going to use that, right?
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I've been kind of listening in.
Hello.
Hi. Yeah, we'll definitely take a look at this.
Okay.
Great.
Joe, I don't know how you feel about adding this to the agenda at the directors meeting at Impact. That it might be helpful for folks that aren't using a data collection system.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it looks great. I guess I didn't know if it had been used in the past or like Caitlin asked if anybody was using it, but yeah, I think it's great work. I think it's amazing actually. And something that we should definitely promote. Yeah.
Great.
And to rewind with the context of it was this group that created it, and so I don't know when that was.
Yeah, and I
Great.
think that oftentimes like when new grantees come in or something like that, they might not be aware. But Caitlin, would you be willing to show it at the directors meeting for like 10 minutes and talk about it? And would that
Totally.
be
Give
okay?
more of the rundown of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'll put you on the agenda. Thanks.
Great.
Awesome.
And then to get like really complicated, which I don't like, again, up to everyone's discretion, but there's additional options to like, you would dump all your data in here and then you can run pivot tables. I tried to go into that, but that's really just left here as an example. Everything that's in yellow and red is just the dummy data. Like
Right.
if you look through all these highlighted ones, those are all obviously fake examples. So
Right.
the,
And if people want to get really, into the nitty gritty, then they can join the evaluation committee, come to the following month meeting and we can really dig in.
definitely. All right, there's some tweaking I think I need to do, maybe in formatting, but I'll send this along so that it gets reshared back out with the updates and then posted on the website, I believe, as well.
Yeah, for
So,
sure. Yeah,
okay.
great. Okay, well, let me share the couple of slides then that I pulled out of the PowerPoint of the tech assistance that they did for Joe and the state agencies, and just make sure if there are any changes that we need to make based on this. And it was really only like 3 slides that pertained to sub-grantees. It was mostly for like Joe and setting the whole system up. But I just pulled out the timeline, which we already knew, but that to share again. Well, the one thing I wanted to highlight on that is that I believe the data entry windows the windows might be the same, but what they're wanting you to put in each window, I believe has changed. So in the first data entry window, they want activities, staffing, and participation for the whole deal. And then in that second data entry window, they want outcomes, and then they want Joe to certify it. So I
think
think
that
that's,
might be, that's the same, I think, from my.
is it
notes.
the same as last year? Okay,
Well,
good.
I think so, that we did everything but outcomes and then outcomes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So that's not a huge change in the timeline then, so that's good. And then they just made a couple of changes, which I don't think will be a huge problem, but there won't be a category for not reported in male or female in the sex table. It'll be male, female, or data not provided. And then there will not be a no data to report checkbox. So I think that pertains to the way that Joe will actually set up the APR system. Like, if I understood the PowerPoint correctly, it'll already be set up for you so that what you put in is what you're actually offering. So there shouldn't be any reason to click the data not provided box. Does that seem right to you, Joe?
Yeah, there was this big kind of hiccup last year where you could say no data to report, but
Right.
then you might actually have data. It was this really weird, it was like a system problem last year that they're trying to kind of fix. I don't recall exactly what it was, but it was something, it would kind of trip it up and they weren't allowing you to even use that, even though it was still available. It was kind of a mess. So they're just getting
Okay.
rid of that. If you don't have data, you would just do zeros. You still have to enter something in the system. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
like, for example, anyone who's serving elementary aged only, GEPRA measure number 2 is GPAs for grades 7 through 8 and 10 through 12. So we would just not put in.
Put a goose egg in
or-
there.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. Yep. You would enter, I think zeros. I don't know what the system's going to require, but then you would just put a response for why there was no data.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, those were the only slides really that pertained to subgrantees. The rest of it was all, of course, about setting up the system, and we don't need to worry about that at all. 'Cause it'll already be good to go by the time it gets to you.
Yep. And I know they change the GIPRAs from time to time, but nothing changed this time, luckily. So hopefully that stays the same for a while. I know that can create issues for everybody.
Yeah,
And then, sorry, I was gonna move forward, but because my brain is going to the next thing, but I know we're not set to meet then again until October 7th, which puts us really close to the local evaluation timeframe. And have slated like our October focus is local evaluations, having gone kind of through the templates, and potentially having Ron or Rusty join, but I know that the local evaluator training is a part of what's offered as well. Is there any time frame known of when that's scheduled to? I mean, we're months out, so it's fine if answers, we don't know.
well, local evaluation will certainly be part of the directors meeting agenda at Impact, but of course, we're not going to have enough time for a full training on it. So I don't know, Joe, what you think about that.
I think do Ron and Rusty usually do like a virtual training in October? Is that
Yes.
right? Yeah. So I think we would keep that kind of schedule unless I think this was on the agenda. I'm open to changing things if we want to. Um, I know we ask for data in certain times and then sometimes there's duplication. So I'm open to kind of redoing the whole kind of tamale. If it's easier for everyone, if there's a better way of doing things, I'm not kind of let's just keep it because that's how we've done it. But I, of course, would have to go back and just make sure we weren't going to miss any deadlines or compliance or anything like that. But I don't know why it's set up the way it is right now, but if there's a way to make it better, then I'm certainly open to it.
I think this might have also come up as far as timing last time, and hearing mixed, like it works now, we're like adjusted to the November kind of being the big lift. I don't know if that was true for everyone, so if anyone on the call right now has thoughts on time frame, or if it is a survey that is just helpful for people to kind of share their thoughts openly in an anonymous survey type format, we could do that specific to evaluation.
This is
Would
Lynn.
you
I
want-
don't think there's
Oh, go ahead.
I don't think there's any issues with the way that we're doing it. I don't think it's getting in the way of anything. And I think, I think if it's worked the way it is,
What do you think about aligning that statewide survey with the local evaluation timeline? Since you already have kind of all of the data right in front of you that you're doing for local evaluation, and then you get it done and you turn it in, and then January pops up and, oh, here's this huge survey you have to fill out. Would it make more sense to kind of have them be one in the same?
So, like as in one and the same deadline, but still two separate processes, because the or is that up for question?
Well, I think that's up to Joe, and I think he's open to, thoughts on that. What if it was part of the local evaluation?
I would be interested in streamlining when streamlining makes sense. Yes.
I would agree with that as well. I think the thing with changing the deadline is there are so many people that ask for extensions
Yeah.
Oh.
that if the state survey was a hard and fast deadline, you may run into trouble with that.
Yeah, true. But if it was part of, like, let's say, you have your local evaluation template and you're going to do it. And then what if, it at the bottom of it is your survey?
And the deadline of January for those surveys has been so that you guys can add on to the statewide report, or is that?
Yeah. I think the reason why Vic made the survey out in January is probably close more to what Lynn said, is like, was people wanted extensions, and then in the past, like Ron and Rusty and he would be completing their review of the local evaluations in January, and so then they would want that data for like for the infographic and for the beginning of the state evaluation. But I just remember, and maybe I was an outlier, it always seemed like, whew, I'm done. Oh, now I have this like huge survey to do, and I have to pull it all out again and do it all over again,
Yeah, I can feel that. I do think as long as there's no, I mean, extensions are granted. I don't know if there's ever been like, no further than how many months out, like how far they go. So as long as there's no issue if they're combined, that you would be missing the data for those
Right.
infographics and things.
Because if it was combined, then if you received an extension for your local evaluation, you would just automatically receive an extension for that survey as well, if it was one and the same.
And I think if they do need to be separate documents, if at the very least the state survey document was available at the same time,
Yes.
if it was released at the same time, then it's not, gosh, I'm done. Now I've been asked to do this other thing that I didn't have access to while I was doing the local evaluation.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
Is that something for further discussion if we're talking about local evaluation at the director's meeting, or just, I don't know at what point in time, is October 7th our next meeting going to be too late to start thinking through those things? It seems like it. So
Right.
that might just be beyond committee, like beyond meeting conversations to have happen with Ron and
I
Rusty.
guess my question would be, there is so much overlap or duplication on the state survey.
Otherwise, yeah.
Do they need to be separate from the state's perspective? Because I mean, that's kind of a Joe question or a federal question, whatever that looks like. Do they need to be separate documents?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess I need to review the difference, kind of what isn't being captured and why. I'm not sure.
Because if things can be, if we can just add a few questions to the local evaluation
Right.
that would allow for you know, to the state to have the data that they need, bonus.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right,
I was just
well-
gonna pull up the statewide survey to just scan it and see, like, I know that we had a whole meeting around it and looking at changes, and duplication always kind of comes up as far as like, this is the same that's in local evaluation. So I do think in all it's like 50 something questions. So maybe it would get trimmed down if some of the data is inherent within local evaluation. Like, I think even like there's partners questions. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
I think there's more questions about activities.
yeah.
Yeah.
If we took the time, either IAA or this committee, to look at where the duplication is. I think part of the reason why we do this survey, and yes, there is overlap, but I think that it was better for the state evaluation when they put it all together, is here's all of the data together in one piece for all the grantees, rather than Ron and Rusty or Vic having to go through each local evaluation and pull that data out.
Right,
But
because the Google form is going to compile all of that for you, and I
That's
right.
totally understand that, and I understand the time that's involved in pulling
right,
those. So, I mean, I understand having two of them,
yeah,
and I'm not opposed to it
right.
because of the way I know things get
But
gathered.
if it was happening at the same time and it was like, okay, I've got my two screens open like we do.
Mhm.
And I put it into this one and then I put it into this one. I put it in this one, I put it into this one. Like,
Yeah, having it available at the same time, I think is certainly
Yeah.
something that can happen. That's a
And I
great
think
point. Not having-
explaining it to new grantees and evaluators why they're two separate, because of the way that things are compiled and local evaluations being required the way that they are. I mean, anybody that works with data and works with spreadsheets and Google Forms and those kind of things is going to understand that as
Mhm. So I think if we put on, I mean, the only thing that would need to happen then for the survey to be ready is for it to kind of get greenlit, and I don't know, that's been us, the committee, looking through and suggesting things, and I feel like we have done that for this most recent cycle. So as long as that's good, I mean, it's on that, probably After School Alliance's team then for you guys house the
Yeah.
survey, so.
yeah,
Is the state survey the one that was still with the days versus the 30 days
I
Yeah.
have,
versus the hour bands?
yeah.
yeah, it needed to be updated for this coming year. So it's kind of a good time to do it if we're gonna do it.
I think that's the major difference that I remember.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I have the document with the comments and that was, yeah, that was on. Anything else? As far as timing or larger thoughts around evaluation?
I'm wondering if we needed extra time and even to be able to do this in person, sometime at the impact to get together and look at that if it needed to be done or if it's something IAA can do.
I won't be there for the entirety of the conference, but for the directors meeting, I will be. So anytime around then.
Just a thought. And if it doesn't work, or if October 7th is soon enough, then we can do it then.
That might be all she wrote then, and we'll connect and how it's looking and hear from Iowa After School Alliance if there's any more needed on that survey.
Yeah, that sounds good. Well, Joe and I connect every week, so I'm sure we'll come up with a plan and then I'll share it out and, of course it'll be up to him where the legwork falls and then I don't think October 7 is too late. I mean, I'm a few years removed, but I don't think it's too late to say, okay, and also here's the statewide survey. It looks just like what you're putting into your local evaluation. If we at IAA can make it as streamlined as possible to what you're doing in your local evaluation, and here's the overlap, and it even, can kind of follow that same flow, then
Mhm.
hopefully it won't be too hard.
Yeah.
And even if it's just a mention at the impact conference at the directors meeting, when you're talking
Right.
about the other spreadsheet, to say this is
Mhm.
what the updates, this is what's coming, this is how we're.
Right.
That's
And with a goal to make it more efficient and easy, for directors.
Yeah.
You could even have your evaluator do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
If they're already working on it, why not?
But yeah, Heidi and I will chat a bit further about it and kind of look at options. But yeah, I think these are great ideas. And if there's anything we can implement, even kind of that small change of having them do it at the same time, and then looking forward in the future, are there other kind of larger incremental changes we can make? I would really, really love to get some sort of statewide data system provided for you all. That's kind of a goal of mine, which would theoretically chop this down quite a bit even further. But I can't make any promises on that. But like I said, that's one of kind of my top priorities when we're looking at new things to add is a statewide data system that you could all use. Um, so hopefully that would help out quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would.
Okay. I think if we're wrapping up, I have just one thing to share is that I'm expecting another baby. So, yeah, it's like I started to think we're meeting in October, but then after that, I'll probably be gone in February because I'm due in February. So, well, I'll have probably 2 more meetings that I'll be able to help facilitate, and then I'm due in February. So, just to give a heads up for the AA team, and
Congrats.
thank you. Yeah, number 3. Oh boy, outnumbered.
Yeah, no kidding.
For free, yeah.
Exciting.
One of my sons is born in February, and man, he's crazy. So hopefully,
Oh, good to know.
but he was the second child too. I think that has to do with it maybe, but yeah, I don't know. The third one maybe a little bit calmer. I don't know.
Let's hope it trends
I don't
that
know.
way.
Yeah, we've got 2 winter kids. Apparently, winter kids grow up bigger. I don't know. It's got something to do with there's like science about like vitamin D and like when they're babies, they're inside, but then they're out. I don't know. It was kind of goofy, but
Makes
yeah,
sense.
That's
who
Partier.
knows?
Mhm.
Congratulations. That's great.
Yeah, big congrats.
Thank you.
Great. All right. Well, if you haven't signed up for Impact, please do so. If you haven't signed up, if you haven't let me know you're coming to the directors meeting and whoever you're bringing, do that too. Most importantly, tell me what size t-shirt you want because they are so cute. And this is the first year we're doing t-shirts and I want everyone to love them. All right. I'll see you guys all next month.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See ya.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye.